my first good thing last night was the Kings defense.
Okay.
It wasn't perfect by any means, but you saw them imposing their will a little bit. You saw that, physicality that was such a buzzword through the preseason. I thought you saw that particularly early in the game. It was every time the Jazz drove, it felt like they never had an open layup, and there were a couple for sure, especially in transition. But defensively, I'm guessing Mike Brown was a lot more pleased last night than he was after practice the other day when he lit the team up.
I would agree. And I'm going to caution everybody, like the Kings gave up 114. People are like, oh, that's a lot to give up. It's really not in the NBA anymore. And I also think, the Kings pushed the pace. Their pace was 105 last night, which is basically possessions per 48 minutes, like projected. So like they really did push the pace. And I think they made Utah play to their speed, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
And Utah's not built to do that. And they don't have the horses to run with the Kings. And, anytime you hold it 45% isn't great, but it's okay. You held them to 32.1% from three. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
These are things that I think that matter. Some things that they do need to clean up. They did, foul too much still on the defensive side.
Yeah.
Anytime you're putting the other team on the line 31 times to just hear 20, that's a problem. Again, 25 personal fouls for the Kings to just 20 for Utah. But it's a work in progress. I think for day one, this was like, holy cow, you're moving the ball quick. You're actually showing us some of the defensive talk.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it. I did. And again, there were some bad plays. There were some players who did not play well on the defensive side of the ball. But there was also schematically, you're like, okay, I'm okay with a lot of this.
Yeah,
this fine.
There just weren't a ton of major breakdowns where the Jazz are getting a bunch of wide open looks and they're getting to the rim at will. There was really none of that. They made some shots for sure, and the Kings, like you said, fouled a little too much. But I didn't walk away from that game going, "Oh man, this defense is going to do them in again."
Yeah,
that wasn't a take. What was something good for you?
The next, let's see, at the assist to turnover ratio, I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
29 assists, 11 turnovers.
Take that every game.
Yeah, I would take that every game, especially for a team that had 3 new rotational players. So I think that's a big deal to point out. That, they went out there and they played their systematic game and they beat up on an opponent, and what their offense did, they could have easily had another 8 assists.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Domantas Sabonis should have had closer to 10. There was a bunch of, wide open shots that were missed. And that's, we're saying that, and the Kings still hit a whole lot of threes. But there were plenty more they left on the table.
Yeah, 19 of 51 from 3 is going to do it. That'll work. That'll play.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of our other 19 to 51, but I pointed out in the rundown, they outscored the Jazz 57 to 27 from behind the arc. They outscored them by 30. You're winning a game when you outscore someone by 30 at the 3-point line.
Good point.
It is what it is. I mean, there's no way to compete with that.
That's one way to overcome the foul shot discrepancy.
Yeah, points per possession. That's how you beat someone. If you're gonna again, what you just said, if you're gonna get beat by 11 free throws, 11 free throws can't make up for 30 points that you're beating someone on 3-point shot.
Another good thing for me last night, Malik Monk. More like Malik Dunk.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Where's you will not be slept on anymore?
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Hang on. Let me find it. There we go.
You will not be slept on no more, brother.
You won't.
You will not be slept on no more, brother.
The thing, and you highlighted this in the rundown, and this was the thing that jumped out to me. 7 assists for Malik Monk.
Yep.
It was not a Jordan Clarkson style sixth man, just to... that's the name I would have picked even if they hadn't just played the Jazz. Where it is, you know what? Go score. You're going to get on the court, and you're going to shoot it. And if you're open, or if you think you're open, just throw it at the rim. No, he was the de facto backup point guard last night.
Oh yeah.
It was not, hey, here comes Malik Monk, go try and score 30. He just ran the offense.
He did.
great.
I think what I love about Malik Monk on this team, and it's why I hope he sticks around for a long time, he plays so similar at times to De'Aaron Fox. So when De'Aaron Fox steps off the court, you don't have this huge lag. He's fast. He attacks. He doesn't mind setting up his teammates. He's a better lob threat than Fox is. These are things that matter. Like if you have continuity of offensive structure, like I think the Kings always have this issue. They don't have another Domantas Sabonis, but they do have another De'Aaron Fox, and it's not as good, but he's really good.
Yeah.
And when he plays like that, where he's smart, and he still got up 12 shots, so let's not act like he was some
right.
Yeah,
he wasn't
still
prime Steve Nash.
Well, that, and he played 23 minutes, but I think watching a player come in 10 points, 7 assists, 2 blocks, and he only turned the ball over 2 times. And the thing, when you're dealing out that many assists and you're dealing with new players, again, Sasha Vezenkov, Chris Duarte, he's the one who's playing with those guys primarily. I was really impressed with Malik Monk.
James Chavis and Chatty House, you just brought up JaVale McGee. Chris Duarte was another player who we talked about earlier. I think I would put them both in the good category as well.
Yeah, I think they were both good. And for that matter, I think Sasha was good. Like, there wasn't a lot of bad here. I mean, there is 1 or 2. I'd even say this, Kyle. Someone could say, hey, Davion Mitchell goes 0 of 3 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3.
Time to trade him? Maybe.
He also had 4 assists and 3 rebounds. And the other thing that he did, he ran a plus forward while he was in the game. Again, 14 minutes of action for him last night. He's going to have a tough time playing more than that. And it's not just because he's backing up De'Aaron Fox. It's because De'Aaron Fox isn't going to slide over and play the shooting guard as much this season. You want to see more of Monk and Fox together. But you also have Chris Duarte. You got Kevin Huerter. You got too many mouths to feed in that backcourt. And so I thought Davion Mitchell was actually pretty strong for the minutes he played.
Yeah, for sure. Last good thing for me, my guy, Colby Jones in the closing lineup.
Colby Jones.
It's a blowout garbage time. I'm like, wow, they're closing with the Rook. Love to see it. No, let's get to some of the bad.
Wait, hang on. Before you do that, I want to say one more thing about like golf clap here. Jordan Ford made his NBA debut.
Oh yeah.
Sacramento kid, Folsom High, super excited for him. He's a two-way player, so for him to make a debut is a big deal because you don't know when that's going to happen. Colby Jones is on the main roster. Colby Jones is going to get minutes here and there. But Jordan Ford, Keon Ellis both played, but Jordan Ford, good for him. And the other thing is Jordan Ford stepped on the court and he said, oh my gosh, I made it. And he didn't stand there and wait. The first thing he did, he got the ball, he raced down the court and he went down the shot. Like he ran down, went for like a floater from the right side. He missed, but who cares? Show that you're there to belong, not there to go, oh, I'm awestruck, I made it. And then that's it. Like, good for you,
funny
Jordan
as hell
Ford.
if he just stood there.
Yeah, come on, little fella. Come on,
you gotta
little
go,
fella.
man. No, yeah, for sure. Love to see. And I'm guessing that that won't be the last blowout that he gets to play in this season. All right, let's get to some of the bad. I didn't think Kevin Huerter was great last night.
No.
It felt very much to me like a carryover from the preseason. Because there was part of me that expected, because we spent so much time talking about him in the preseason, there was part of me that expected when we got to the regular season, he was going to be fine. Preseason's over. He's in the starting lineup. Lights are on. Let's roll. And it just looked like it did in the preseason. The shot's just not going down. And when his shot's not falling and he gets beat back in transition defense and he loses somebody off the ball or on a back cut or whatever, it's really, really glaring when he's not hitting shots.
Well, and I think the other thing, Kyle, is that there was a 3 or 4 minute stretch where Jordan Clarkson just went at him. And I think that's a little unfair because Jordan Clarkson is, an electric scoring guard. He is, like, whether he was great last night or not, he ends up having, 24 points to lead the team.
Doesn't he have a 50-point game in the NBA?
Yeah, I believe so. Jordan Clarkson can really score, and he's shifty. He's fast. He is like a Malik Monk.
Mhm.
And to put Kevin Herter on him for long stretches, I don't know that that's like the most advantageous thing. I would rather have him on Taylor Horton Tucker, just because, again, I think Herter can use his size and his length to sit there and try to defend against like a bull rush guy.
Mhm.
So I wasn't too excited about the matchup for him, but I also like at the end of the day, he ends up 3 of 9 from the field, which isn't that bad. Like you'll live with that on one night. Like he needs to come back and be better. He's 1 of 5 from 3, but at the same time, you saw moments where he's like, okay, I've got to do something other than keep chucking threes because it's not going. And he was able to get to the rim. He's able to get inside the circle and make a play. He just looks like a player that needs one breakout game to change everything for him. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you can change his offensive game, if you can have, if he goes 3 of 5 from 3, I think he'd be a better defensive player too. And it's just because all of this is wearing on him and you can see it. So I'm with you. You could kind of feel that was like the angst of what was happening.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully he gets that figured out. And I kind of wonder how long they're going to ride that with him in the starting lineup.
I totally agree.
All right. Another bad thing is, I mean, we talked about this last segment, but Davion Mitchell, quiet night. He didn't score. He went over 3 from the field. And again, that was something. This is why you can't really make sweeping judgments from preseason or just expect preseason to carry over right away, because in the preseason, he looked so confident with his shot. He looked super in command of what he was doing. He was knocking threes down, and then gets in last night and did not have that happen. So like you said, not necessarily a bad game overall for Davion Mitchell, but offensively you would like to see those shots go in.
Yeah, and 8 players hit 3-pointers last night for the Kings. And 10 players shot threes. The only other person to miss was Kessler Edwards, which was in the last minute of the game. Davion just, you'd like to see him have some success to build his confidence as well.
Yeah, definitely. Last bad thing, De'Aaron Fox from 3, another bad shooting night, 1 for 7. But again, we talked about that earlier. It's not like a concern. These are isolated to this game.
Yeah.
And
I think so
De'Aaron
too.
Fox did not shoot it well last night. That's my thought.
I totally agree.
The shot's gonna fall eventually. He didn't take bad shots.
No, and I think we're gonna see him, like, especially the next 2 games, he'll really get up for these games. Like,
yeah.
Well, the next 3, because you got the Warriors twice.
Sure.
Like this is where he wants to play, in that competition area.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think that it's like he didn't take it serious or anything, but I certainly think that like he will have a little extra oomph against these next couple of teams.
There's also, he's not a 40% 3-point shooter.
No.
So there's going to be nights where he goes 5 of 7, and there's going to be nights he goes 1 of 7.
Yeah, I would prefer that if he's not hitting, that he goes 0 for 3, not 1 of 7.
Yeah. I wonder how much of that had to do with the score and the game situation where he was just trying to get himself going.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah. All right. It's hard to find a lot of ugly stuff when you just thoroughly beat a team down like the Kings did last night.
Yep.
To Utah. You had the Jazz rebound advantage down here, 64-52 for Utah. Outside of that, it feels nitpicky to call something else super ugly from last night.
Yeah, and so the Kings had 15 offensive rebounds. They gave up 16, and I'm sure that Mike Brown's not going to be happy about the numbers, 16. But I'll say Utah missed a bunch of they were really bad shooting wise. Like, it was their 3-point shots, almost all of them flew out to like the top of the circle.
Yeah.
Like, again, if you would have just put a guy standing at the free throw line, he probably would have had 7 rebounds just by standing there and like waiting for balls to hit him. And I think that was a little bit of crazy. The Kings need to be better on the glass, and it's something that we will continue to point out, because Mike Brown said he's not gonna, if it becomes like an issue, he's gonna have to address it. And I believe it's an issue, and he might not believe it's an issue yet.